Hey, what's going on, guys? Josh here for Classic Elite, and this is a hardware review of, ta-da, Kingston HyperX Predator Series RAM. Bam. You like that rhyme? This stuff here is, wow. It just came in the mail, and I cannot wait to dig in and talk about it. I haven't actually tried it out myself, but knowing the specs, which I'll mention here in a minute, and knowing what I've read online and everything I've checked into, and just knowing the Kingston name alone means superb quality, I have no doubts this stuff will do anything but knock my socks off. I mean, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm already giving a glowing review without even opening the package. But if we want to get into specifics, and that's what we're going to do here, the packaging itself is plain. It's very basic. Nothing fancy going on here. No crazy designs, no stickers, no hot chicks on the front. Nothing trying to sell me anything other than RAM, and that's it. I can totally appreciate that. Now the RAM itself, you can buy it in different variants, but what we have here are two 8GB sticks. They're going to run in dual channel, 240 pin, DDR3, 1866 megahertz stock. I'm not having to overclock to reach those speeds. That's just how it comes out of the package. Although I have no doubt this RAM can achieve some really fantastic overclocks, which I may experiment with a bit, but I mean really, I don't think I need RAM any faster than that. Oh my goodness. And yep, I'm cheating. I already cut it earlier. Gonna open the package up and take a look at the RAM itself. Just pull out the first stick here. What you can see here is a really nice blue heatsink or heat spreader, depending on what you call it. It's got the HyperX logo, branding, whatever, up top here, and Kingston's name down at the bottom. Same for the back. It's identical. It's kind of heavy compared to other RAM that I felt with heat spreaders or heat sinks on it. So it's got some weight to it, which is cool. It extends above the top of the board here a little bit. Not obnoxiously high, though. I don't think you're going to have any trouble getting this into a rig that has any sort of air cooling aftermarket on it. So, you know, if you've got a big heat sink and some fans, I think this will fit in there no problem. And if you have a water-cooled system, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt this stuff will squeak right in there. But just as a point of comparison, because everyone likes to compare, I have a stick of Corsair Vengeance memory, and while not bad RAM at all, it's served me well in the past, it is no HyperX Predator series, and you can tell that just alone by feeling it. I mean, the build quality in this stuff and the weight, it just feels better as opposed to this, which isn't bad, but I mean, this is all like in the middle. It's there, it's not going anywhere, it's just solid, and this is a sticker on the heatsink, and that's it. And it's got the fins, and yeah, whatever. Goodbye. Oh man, this stuff's gonna be beautiful. Again, like I said, it is flashy without being obnoxious, and I can really appreciate that. And solid. I mean, I'm not nervous to flick it. It actually hurts my finger, as opposed to hurting the RAM. Ow. So anyway, guys, I've gushed on about the physical build quality and talked a little bit about the packaging. What we're going to do now, whoop, I guess I can't, there we go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop it in my rig, going to run some benchmarks and see how these sticks perform, and I'll get back with you all in a few. Alright guys, I'm back, and I love it. I think this RAM is fantastic. It has really impressed me so far, and I'm just really tickled to talk about it even more now that I've had it installed and been playing games and ran a couple benchmarks. I'm very impressed with the memory as it is, and I believe, I have no doubt, that I will continue to be impressed as I upgrade my system and keep this memory with me for a long time. Now, let's dig right into it. Let's talk about the installation. Piece of cake. It's RAM after all. Nothing really exciting there. You pop out the old set, you pop in the new set, and you're good to go. despite my having a really big heatsink and fan, as you can see in the pictures, the RAM fit in, no issues at all. Proceed with caution if you're one of those guys or gals who has a really big heatsink and fan that extends outward a bit, because the heatsinks on this are a little tall, and you just got to keep that in mind. Now, starting into the BIOS, not a complaint but just something worth mentioning, was it came clocked in at 1600 megahertz by default, and thankfully with my ASUS board it's a matter of a drop down menu and you change the speed to 1833. That happens, so if you put the memory in and you're not seeing the speed that you think you should have when you're booting up, just jump in your BIOS and switch that manually. Don't be concerned, it happens all the time anymore. Now, I could go out and show you guys all the benchmark scores I ran and talk about how this number is better than that number and how when this number is lower that means it's better, but forget that. I ran a couple marks and I said, you know, that's really good. And my only point of comparison is to go on the internet and see what other people ran or see what my old memory scored. I can't really give it a thorough test. So what I've done is I've booted up games, and I've been playing games and recording with Fraps and running other background applications, and that gives me a true real-world test on how well this RAM is going to perform, and that, I think, is the most valuable thing to you guys out there. The first game I jumped into isn't a game that's terribly hard to run, but I thought it would be a nice test since it's such a new game and such a popular game, and I'm talking about Black Ops 2, as you can see by the video. Now, Black Ops 2, I have it pretty much maxed out. I think there might be a couple settings I don't have all the way up, but for the most part, this game is completely, scaled all the way up, 1080p, whatnot. Now, don't tell me I suck at the game. That's something I already know. But me recording the gameplay footage with software like Fraps that can be kind of a hog, and playing the game at the same time, I had no problems. I did notice a small increase in my frames where I tried to record previously, and I was, doing okay. With the new memory installed, I was running right around, let's say, 45 to 50 some odd frames per second. So it was a good average 5 to 12 frames per second increase while recording. Now, when I'm not recording, frame rate goes way up there. Fraps is very tough to run. In addition to being CPU intensive, it's another application running in the background that's, writing information to your hard drive. So keep all that in mind. Multiple processes going on. And what is good for multiple processes? RAM. Now, the second game I tried out was a game that is notoriously hard on hardware. Ha, that sounds funny. It's difficult to run and a bit of a resource hog when you turn up all the bells and whistles. And I pretty much turned up all the bells and whistles on Sleeping Dogs, a fantastic open world game in the style of GTA, and wow, it was fantastic. The game itself I have no issue running, but until recently, until I installed the HyperX Predator RAM, I've been unable to record it with Fraps successfully, because when I turn Fraps on, the game immediately goes down to a frame rate that is unplayable, or at least unrecordable by any means. So with the memory installed, me running the game, me running Fraps, I got frame rates that were very playable, always above 30, and that made me very excited. Now, the last game I wanted to try out is another game that I have really not been very successful at recording, and that was Guild Wars 2, a game that is also resource heavy. It is very difficult to run at the maximum settings and record at the same time. So what I did was I had the RAM installed and I ran Fraps, and just for, laughs and giggles, I also ran Skype and Steam and had an Internet Explorer browser open in the background playing a YouTube video. Now, this isn't mind-blowing stuff. I'm not doing like AutoCAD and crazy intensive programs in the background, but just real-world stuff, anything that any given gamer out there on their PC might be doing at any given time while playing a game. That's a real-world test. And doing all of that, having everything open, Guild Wars 2 running, and me hitting the Fraps record button used to just kill the game. I mean, not literally boot me out, but bring me down to my knees in terms of frame rate performance. And that was not the case here. I ran at a solid 30 frames. I didn't have to change anything or turn any settings off or turn anything down. It ran beautifully. It was fine. So again, impressed me a whole lot. And man, what a beautiful game. Just take a moment and look at the scenery in here. If you haven't picked it up, go pick it up today, man. Guild Wars 2, wow. So I did all that, and then I also, in addition to playing the games, I rendered the videos that I recorded. So I mean, that's what you have to do. I record the video in Fraps, and then I put it in Sony Vegas and I render it out. Now before, gameplay videos of this size, or approximately, would take about 10 to 15 minutes to render. Now rendering all 3 of these videos, I did not have one that took over 7 minutes. That impressed me almost as much as playing Guild Wars 2 with all those other applications running. But no, video rendering, as to no surprise, was much faster, significantly faster, as it should be expected. With my RAM, I cranked the clock speed up a little more and was blown away. Speaking of clock speeds and RAM and all that so forth, let's talk about a score or a benchmark that real people will understand and use. Now I can run other tests, and I did run tests that will give me scores where this number is higher, that's better, this number is lower, that's better, this one does this one does that. Psh, whatever. Alright, now that's interesting to a degree, but I don't have a wide variety of products to compare it against, or at least not my own benchmarks. And that's where I say, not going to show that. What I'm going to talk about here is a Windows Experience Index score. Some people love it, some people hate it. What I like is it's a simple number that anyone can use the utility, and it gives you a good idea of, in some increment, of how your upgrade is going. Now, my initial score on my old memory, which was the Corsair Vengeance, came in at 7.8. Not bad, highly respectable. This is out of 9.9, which is the current Windows 8 cap on their index rating. When I put in the Corsair HyperX Predator RAM, now this is 16 gigs running at 1833 after I made that adjustment in the BIOS, my Windows Experience Index score only went up to 7.9. Now that was a bit disappointing. It didn't perform badly. I mean, I was playing games and doing stuff that I, recorded the video and whatnot. That was fine, but it wasn't that jump in that number that I was looking forward to. So what I did was I went into the BIOS and I cranked the clock speed up to 2133. That is 2133 megahertz. And that is where I noticed a big jump in my Windows Experience Index score. So originally it was 7.8, old memory. New memory clock speed, stock clock speed, 7.9. The 2133 megahertz speed jumped me all the way up to 8.4, which is a significant jump up, and it's also, some might even call it a significant overclock, but it's not that crazy given the fact that this RAM is so well constructed and the heat spreaders are really, really nice. Also, I don't know if I mentioned the rest of my components. I said Core i5 overclocked, and an ASUS GTX 570 is the video card I'm running. So, just to give you guys an idea, if that's a build you have at home, which I think is a pretty common build for a lot of people, this is the performance you can kind of look for. A nice significant boost when it comes to playing games and recording them at the same time. A big boost in performance when it comes to rendering video. So guys, this is the review, or that was the review, for the Kingston HyperX Predator Series memory. Again, it was 16 gigs, 2 8 gig stick, and go buy it.